absence, the center, with your host, DC Radical One.
Greetings, Black family, and welcome to On the Wake Up Radio. I am your host, DC Radical One, and you have entered the center. Shout out to our wonderful producer, Cindy Ashby. You can check us out at SoundCloud, YouTube, iTunes Podcast, Google Play, Stitcher, Spotify, and iHeartRadio at On the Wake Up Radio. More important than that, you can catch us at otwtube.com. That's otwtube.com, as as well as onthewakeupradio.com. That excuse me, that's onthewakeupradio.com. See, we have Sister Vanessa in, BB Fahode and Straight Black Pride, BB Fahode to Brother You Got Ripped Off. Hopefully we will have a larger audience. People may be coming in slow. I don't know. Notifications went out. You never can tell with YouTube. I don't think they have the infrastructure to send out notifications for everyone in a timely manner. They'll never admit that, but just from the sheer number of people they have, appreciate that, brother. Sheer number of people they have, I know that they don't do that, so they probably prioritize, to be honest. As I'm get started. Excuse me for sounding distracted. Trying to make sure the sound volume for the music that I'm about to begin. I'm trying to remember which song I normally play. We're about to find out. Let's see. Yeah, that's our normal song, right? Y'all let me know about the volume. Yep, no, got the banner. Appreciate that. I think the I don't know, sound like the music is a little low. Let me check before I get ready here. Let's see. And one thing is obvious is that I've reached a point in my life where classes are soon to be in order. Alright, I think we're alright, that's cool. I think we're good right there. Alright, so see more people. See only a few people in the chat, more people online. So anyway, wait a minute. So can you hear me now better? Because I did not check the sound levels for the mic. Maybe I should have. But tonight, oh man, excuse me, I'm a little tired. Now the brother saying the sound volume is too loud. Man, come on now. Help me out here. You know what I'm saying? The unofficial production team. Alright, that's the best I got right there. Tonight, man, we're gonna talk about, of course, the question I asked is, are your children safe at school? And back when I was young in school, actually not when I was in school, actually school was pretty cool when I was in school, but a little bit after I got out of school, you start having the first notable school shootings, which were, I say notable because once they start happening in where Europeans live, then they were notable. You had the Columbine situation. You had various other situations that came up, these school shootings and things like that. Then they start talking about metal detectors and all that. But that's not the type of safety we're talking about for your children. What we are going to talk about tonight is, are your children safe from predators in the school? Now, I know this is not something that people normally think about. And when I actually kind of started to look into it, because it really all started with somebody sending me an article. And that article was, I did a video on it. And then someone sent me another article, and I was simply going to do a video. And then, but I didn't have the information. I didn't have the person's name. So what happened is, I just looked up the information I had. I was like, middle school teacher arrested for inappropriate relationship with student, or something to that effect. And then all of these cases came up. So I was like, well, all right, let me just look and see. Maybe this is old stuff. And then all this stuff was within the last year. And then I was like, well, now mind you, I still hadn't found the original article I was looking for, right? So I started looking at each case and just going through it more and more. And then I was like, this is an epidemic that nobody's talking about. And there are two reasons why I think no one's really talking about this. One, you gotta think about it. The vast majority of teachers are women, right? And so, because of that, the chance that there's going to be a high percentage chance that if we're looking at a number of predators in the schools, and those predators are teachers, then it goes to say that we're going to find a large number of female predators. And it's not popular to talk about female predators because it's not popular to talk about the males as victims of any type of especially of any type of sexual crime, right? So when I looked at it and I said, you know what, let me just go through these cases and see, and is this worthwhile to talk about? And I really, being completely honest, I went through like two. Then I said, wait. No one's talking about this. It's worth talking about because no one's talking about this. No one is going to talk about it because it's not black men. It's not straight men. Can't blame any toxic masculinity. It's none of these things. It's predators in our schools who have become teachers. And my hypothesis is that this environment that's in the schools right now, that, what people would call this liberal environment, where they're teaching all these various forms of sexuality, and they're on the verge of they're already talking about this MAPS thing, this minor attracted persons thing, right? That they're trying to rebrand what we used to call pedophilia. It was pedophilia for a long time. I don't even really like the word pedophilia in the sense that the literal translation, to my understanding, is lover of children. So I just use predator, right? Need to call it pedophilia. Love to prey on people. But now they rebranded that as MAPS, minor attracted persons. And so when you start rebranding stuff and you start entering all these sexualities and all this weird stuff, and you pushing it into school, well, to me, you're setting up a signal that the school is open for those type of people. Like this is not no coincidence that I'm finding cases from Milwaukee, California, Connecticut, Texas. I mean, there's no limitation on region or limitation on the thing that's interesting, and though not always, but I have seen like seems to be like a lot of younger teachers, right? But what's also interesting is that we're talking about, man, we're not talking about like just random teachers. Some of these teachers have received awards and accolades and this and that. And so, and right, says Fonda, again, and this is something, there was a time when we used to be able to say, oh, that's those people over there. Now, it's not those people over there. I got cases of mostly European females, but the worst case might be the black woman, to be honest. Actually, I think it is, just from reading the different cases. Excuse me. So, and brother, you got ripped off, says young males are taught its sexual conquest to attain older women. Yeah. I never, I don't know, I guess I was weird. I never liked older women, really. It was never a thing for me, like, try to impress an older woman or whatever. I had a couple of older crushes when I was young, but that was never really my thing. But yeah, at the same time, when I think about it, being completely honest, when I think about how naive I was as a child, you know, because some of these cases, children are 12, 13, 14 years old, how naive I was, and of course, children now have been exposed to more things, right? But I wasn't really, I don't know how I react. Do you really question authority? Like, if you find a teacher, if the teacher is younger, closer in age, and she, she gives you attention, and especially if you're not getting a lot of attention from girls, and an older woman is giving you attention, and just giving you some compliments and this and this and that, man, just be completely honest. Even if you haven't taught about the older woman conquest thing, it's easy to fall victim, because unless you're like a boy that's mentally and physically overdeveloped, you're not used to that type of attention. And at 12 or 13, hopefully you haven't engaged in those type of activities with a woman, right? Hopefully. So you don't even have really, I'm be honest, I think the average boy of that age doesn't really have any psychological defenses, because who's sitting around saying, of course, as we finish this, we're like, yeah, we got to figure out what we're going to do. But who's sitting around thinking, man, I need to come up with some psychological defenses for my 12-year-old son so he isn't taken advantage of by his teacher? Like, who thinks that? If you think that, you never send a child to the school in the first place, right? So, but this is what we're dealing with, and this is where we are in this society. And like I said, we're teaching all these alternative views or whatever on sexuality, and this is part of the consequences of those things, in my opinion. Sis Fonda said, now black women are being caught up in this nonsense, right? And brother, you got ripped off, says, look, at this point, if you search for teacher violate students. Oh, you ain't gotta tell me, bro. I looked for one case, and I put middle school teacher and something else. Man, this show could have been 6 hours. Like, you know what I'm saying? I was sitting here like, I don't believe this. And I just started looking at stuff, and I'm like, wait a minute, this ain't even what I'm looking for. I went down the rabbit hole with that thing. And so tonight, y'all gonna go down the rabbit hole with me. Also, coming up, September 11th, like 2 weeks from today. right, let me see if I can find it on my phone. So I do not have it on this computer. I got one computer down. I need to do some repairs to it when I get some free time. Some of you may be asking, hey, what happened to the show you said you're gonna do Sunday? I'll tell you what happened. The plantation happened. I haven't actually calculated how many hours that I was at the plantation since Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. It was a long couple of days, so that's what happened with that. I wasn't in no shape to do anything yesterday. So once I realized that I couldn't escape the plantation, I just scrapped that. So I'm trying. We're gonna do that show. I just have to figure out a day and time because we need to have that discussion with the brothers and sisters. Also, 2 weeks. I know it's 2 weeks from the date. Brother Genie will have his live stream with the very controversial David Duke, and I'm just trying to find the information. Here we go. Yep, Monday, September 11, 2023, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Ayo Kimati meets, well, not meets, but a live stream conversation with David Duke. It says, can black and white people work together to defeat a common enemy? So, next live stream I have, I'll put up the flyer. I actually put it on this phone, but that's going to be difficult. You know, of course, we had the situation in, I believe, Florida with, I don't know, random redneck shot black people for no reason. Brother Jenny talked about that this morning on this show. And one of the things, it is just wild to me how cowardly these Europeans are. They will sit around and make analysis. They'll come to the conclusion that black people aren't in charge of anything and really are more of an irritant than a threat. And then they immediately go out and kill black people while admitting that they know who the actual threat is and who's trying to remove them from the planet. So that's the type of backwardsness and cowardice that we're dealing with, and Brother Jenny's having that discussion to try to mitigate some of these issues so that we aren't drawn in a situation where we have to fight on all fronts with multiple opponents, because what's coming down the road, what appears to be coming down the road, unless something drastic happens, it's going to be very difficult for everyone. Black, white, Asian, Hispanic, you name it. America is at a very bad place and a very bad point of history. And unfortunately, if we look and analyze it, do not have the, at least from my vantage point, I do not see the type of people with the type of leadership capability to pull this giant plane up into the sky instead of crashing and burning, which it looked like it's doing, or sinking, if you want to use an analogy with a boat. So that will be again Monday, September 11th at 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. So let's get into our articles today. I was trying to hope some more people will come in, but it looked like it's just going to be one of those days where the crowd is going to be sparse. It's interesting because I started posting lately. I've been posting on Instagram and I'm not getting as much engagement. Usually that happens when Instagram is tired of me and they start reinstituting the old shadow ban. So maybe that's what's going on over there. Nonetheless, let's start with our first article. Now, this is from early this year, March 7th, 2023. Says award-winning National City teacher arrested on suspicion of child sexual abuse. The investigation stemmed from concerns of a mother who reported to National City Police that her 13-year-old child may have an inappropriate relationship with a former teacher. All right. I don't know what's happening with this picture over here that has nothing and video that has nothing to do with our article, but whatever. It says an award-winning elementary school teacher in San Diego's South Bay was arrested Tuesday on child sex abuse charges, according to National City School District. Jacqueline Ma, a sixth grade teacher at Lincoln Acres Elementary School, faces 3 counts of lewd and lascivious acts with a child under 14 and 3 counts of oral copulation with a child under 14, according to San Diego County deputies' records. Wow, we just get straight to the point. All right, District Superintendent Leangela, I'm not sure. Leangela Brady sent NBC7 a statement Tuesday evening confirming Ma was arrested on campus at around 8 a.m. away from students. The district is only aware of one alleged victim, and they are no longer a student in the district, according to Brady. Man, they came bright and early to her job. Investigators have not detailed when the alleged abuse occurred. The National City Police Department launched the investigation after a parent reported Monday concerns her 13-year-old child possibly had an inappropriate relationship with a former teacher. Quote, "We know that our entire school community is as stunned as we were by this news. The district will cooperate with law enforcement and cannot comment any further on the pending investigation. We will continue to do everything possible to keep our students' safety, needs, education first and foremost." In a letter to parents, Brady said the district was working on hiring a substitute teacher to replace Ma and asked anyone with information on the case to contact NCPD Sergeant Roberto Gonzalez. Okay, so that's the initial story. And again, this is an award-winning teacher, 6th grade teacher. At 6th grade, mighty young. And when I was talking about the youth of the teachers, this teacher is 34 years old, which is relatively young, but yet and still old enough to be this child's mother. Bibi Fahode to I Allen. So I have another article on this case because, the case continued. And this is from, actually I didn't even source. I guess the first one's from 7 San Diego. And this is from New York Post. It says, Teacher of the Year allegedly kept groomed student's photo and wallet. It says a California elementary school teacher was described by prosecutors as being obsessive, possessive, controlling, and dangerous toward a former student who she is accused of grooming and sexually abusing. Jacqueline Ma, a 6th grade teacher in Lincoln Acres Elementary School in National City, who was named one of the country's top educators last year, pleaded not guilty Monday to 15 felony counts, including child sexual abuse and child movies, indecent movies, trying to avoid the YouTube censors here. Prosecutors said Monday that a picture of the 13-year-old victim was found in the 34-year-old educator's wallet, as well as jewelry that featured the victim's initials. Love letters apparently exchanged in her classroom, as well as text messages sent between Ma and the victim, showed that Ma became frustrated when the victim didn't respond quickly enough. This is a picture of her before. That's a hurting picture right there, but hey, that's what it is. Deputy District Attorney Drew Hart described Ma as obsessive, possessive, controlling, and dangerous toward the victim, and argued the victim would be in danger if Ma was released. She faces up to 29 years in state prison if convicted of all charges. The former teacher of the year began a sexual relationship with the victim when he was 12 years old, sent him racy photographs of herself, and asked him to take and send videos of himself. Bruh. 12 years old? 12 years old. This is ridiculous. I know it's ridiculous. So, as y'all know, I normally don't read the articles until I read the articles. Straight Black Pride to Yeshua Goon. This is. Why is nobody talking about this stuff, man? Why is nobody not talking about this? This is disgusting behavior. A 12-year-old? Let's be real here for a moment. We know good and well that if a 35-year-old black male teacher was engaging in this type of activity with a 12-year-old Asian or European female, all hell would break loose. This chick was teacher of the year. She been on like, if I'm not mistaken, she was on like Good Morning America or something like that. This chick is nationally known. Engaged in this type of degenerate, filthy, man, listen. This is way I don't know what I thought it was, but this is way worse than what I thought it was. Says this defendant maintained a relationship with the child for months, maybe even more than a year, when she began grooming him, giving him gifts, helping him with school, and praising him. And see, that's what I was talking about right there. If you are, and I don't know the personality of the child, but I take myself back to when I was young. If you are, like, say you're a child and you transfer into a school and you don't have a lot of friends, you're not very popular, right? And the teacher is praising you and they like building up your self-esteem and saying little stuff about you and things like that. And man, it's very easy for a child to fall victim because they could be little things like, oh, you look like you're growing in a mustache, or you look like, you know what I'm saying, something that make you feel like a man and gas your head up a little bit. And then what? Buying gifts? Oh man, this child had no hope, man. Child had no hope. Says Ma was arrested March 7th after the parent of the victim suspected her 13-year-old son was possibly having an inappropriate relationship with a former teacher. She was charged with 3 counts of lewd and lascivious acts with a child under 14 and 3 counts of, man, this copulation thing is just crazy. Every time I read it, it's like, what in the world is going on? I'm gonna leave this broad on the screen for me. And just let us just look at her and just, I don't know why. I'm not gonna lie. This really gets my goat because I'm just being completely honest. I know, put myself in the mind of my 12-year-old self, having no idea about none of this stuff. And fortunately, we ain't had the technology for all this type of things that she was doing, sending pictures and all that. You just have no defense, man. And I know we're not used to looking at our sons like that, but you have no psychological defense against this stuff. You have no psychological defense from a woman, a grown woman, manipulating and seducing you, somebody you look up to as a person of authority. You know what I'm saying? And feeling feelings that you never felt before and sensations you never felt before, and she the one. Man, please. We don't even take into consideration our children are having no hope facing this type of situation. And I don't even know, other than the standard, hey, if someone touches you type of thing, I don't even know what you tell your child, because how you randomly say, hey, you know, look out for teachers complimenting you too much. I mean, you understand what I'm saying? Those of you who are parents, help me out here. I'm at a loss for this one. For, like, we have to sit down and develop a process of defending our children, our sons, from teachers. Like, you see what I'm saying? Like, I don't even know. I wasn't thinking about this beforehand, but now as I think about it, it's like, yeah, we don't have nothing. Like, somebody literally needs to write a book, how to protect your sons from grown women. I know that sounds crazy, but as we go through these stories, you're gonna be like, oh, okay, I see that's why he's saying that. Brother I. Allen said grown women start coming for you around 14. So you know. Sydney G says that's the lure of the appeal of the predator, gifts, attention, etc. Right. So I have a video. I forgot I do have a video of where they talk about this case. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to pause the music and load the video.
Ma, the award-winning National City sixth grade teacher accused of having a sexual relationship with a former student, answered to those charges for the first time in a Chula Vista courtroom. CBS 8's Brian White was there at Ma's arraignment. Brian, what did we learn today?
Yeah, parents at Lincoln Acres Elementary were shocked, to say the least, by the allegations of sexual misconduct with a former student by Jacqueline Ma, someone who had recently been honored with the prestigious Teacher of the Year award. I was there when she appeared in court.
Miss Ma, good afternoon. Can you hear me, ma'am?
Yes, Your Honor, I can hear you.
34-year-old Jackie Ma pled not guilty while appearing over video in court today. She's facing 15 felony counts of sexual misconduct with a minor under 14 years old, including lewd and lascivious acts.
This defendant was obsessive, possessive, controlling, and dangerous.
Ma was first arrested last Tuesday after a parent suspected her 13-year-old child of having an inappropriate relationship with her. She soon bailed out, but National City Police arrested her again Thursday on additional felony counts of sexual misconduct, a witness intimidation charge, and multiple counts related to child pornography.
When she was arrested, she had a photograph of the victim in her wallet. She had jewelry with his initials. Love letters were discovered in her classroom directed at the child.
Ma is being held at the Las Colinas Women's Detention Facility on no bail, something her attorney challenged in court.
She owns and lives in Chula Vista. She's been living there since 2016 when she purchased her first home with her husband. So a flight risk, there is no flight risk whatsoever.
Arguing for no bail, Deputy District Attorney Drew Hart described the inappropriate relationship between Ma and the then 12-year-old child. He said it all began in late December.
At one point when the child was 12 years old, she got him in a position where he was alone in her classroom and started making advances. This victim did not know what to do and reported that it felt surreal.
He went on to describe some of the communications when the victim was no longer a student of hers.
In these messages, the defendant was persistent in sending illicit photographs of herself to the victim and then soliciting the victim to do the same. She would persistently directed him to engage in sex acts while he was at home and to video record them.
The judge denied bail and any pretrial release. If convicted on all charges, Ma could face 29 years in state prison. She's set to appear in court on March 16th for a bail review hearing. Brian White, CBS 8.
All right. So that, as we see, you know, I'm kind of at a loss for words, to be honest. Because when I think about, every time I think 12 years old, I'm just like, this person worked around children every single day. And as she did, she sat around and found the perfect prey and preyed upon that child for months and would have done it for years. Like, to be completely honest, this would have gone on as long as that child let it go on. And what's crazy is, this woman's married. I didn't even know that part. None of the articles I read said she was married. So this is, now think about this. if you are, just think about you, her husband, and you married this woman, y'all bought a house, and she's a teacher, and you like, oh man, my wife, she helps children. And then you sitting up here and she's arrested, and she called you and say, oh, I've been arrested. You're like, been arrested for what? What is going on? And then eventually you find out that your wife has been arrested for seducing and molesting a 12-year-old boy. Now, how in the world, how do you process that as a man? Like, I ain't gonna lie, she might be lucky that she in jail, cause some men I know would knock her head clean off her shoulders. I mean, this whole thing is just, man, I haven't even made it through the first case. The more they talk, the more I learn, the more we look at, and the more we see, the more ridiculous and disgusting it gets. She don't have no excuse. Not that there's an excuse, but whatever the excuse would have been, she don't have it. And don't nobody want to talk about it. But here's the thing. It gets worse. I almost forgot. This gets worse. I know y'all like, hey, DC, how can this get worse? You want to know how it can get worse? Bam. This is how it gets worse. National City teacher Jacqueline Ma facing new sex charges involving a second minor victim. This was revealed about a month ago. Let us read. A Lincoln Acres elementary school teacher already charged with engaging in sex acts with a former student is facing new charges involving a second minor victim. Jacqueline Ma, 34, was arrested and charged earlier this year in connection with allegations that she groomed a 13-year-old former student, exchanged illicit photographs with the boy, and engaged in inappropriate acts with the teen. I guess 13 is a teenager, but okay, whatever. An amended complaint filed this week lists new charges of lewd act upon a child and attempted lewd acts upon a child involving a victim identified as John Doe 2. The charges indicate that the boy was under 14 years of age at the time of the offenses, which allegedly occurred in early 2020. Now, early 2020 really only leaves you January or the beginning of February, because the scamdemic happened right after that. Says prosecutors have not commented on whether the second victim was also a former student, but one of the charged offenses in the complaint lists an act that allegedly occurred in the classroom. I mean, this dirty broad is out here molesting the children in the classroom. Not even the parking lot, the playground, her car. Nah, in the classroom. Ma remains in custody without bail. She now faces 150 years to life in state prison if convicted on all 19 felony accounts and allegations she is charged with. So it goes on to talk about what we already know as far as the parent suspecting and what the prosecutor described as her obsessiveness. And of course, it talks about her being a top educator, and classroom teacher, and technology site liaison at the campus. So, I mean, this broad just a predator, man. And by the time this is done, who knows how many children will come out and how many crimes she'll be charged with. And man, I'm just kind of at a loss for words. I'm so disgusted. It's just, so the only good part is if she's convicted, and she probably cop a plea, because it sounds like she don't have no defense whatsoever. There's none. And probably because of more children come up, she probably cop a plea, do 25 years or something like that. But let's move on to the next case. I'm just so disgusted by this case. The fact that she was committing these acts in the school is just like, yo, what in the world is going on? So let's move on to our next case. And this one is from earlier this year, May 22nd, 2023, CBS News. Former Teacher of the Year. Here we go again, man. I can't make this stuff up. We had Teacher of the Year, now we got Former Teacher of the Year. Arrested for allegedly, having sex with 16-year-old. There may be additional victims. All right. Says a former high school teacher of the year has been arrested in California. Wait a minute, wasn't the other one arrested in California too? All right, California up to nothing on degenerate women. For allegedly having sex with a 16-year-old boy, and authorities said they believe there may be additional victims. Tracy Vanderhost, a 38-year-old, again, this is another woman that's under 40, 30-year-old math teacher at Ucapa, I don't know, high school, was arrested late Thursday night for unlawful sexual intercourse involving a minor and was held on $30,000 bail, which means she only has to put up $3,000 to get out. The San Bernardino County Sheriff's Office said in a news release, it was not immediately clear if the minor was a student at the high school. In a tweet that has since been deleted, the school said that Vanderhost offers up a rigorous mathematics curriculum and deep caring for her students. I don't think mathematics was the problem in this case, but so be it. Vanderhost was honored as Teacher of the Year in 2017. According to a citation quoted by the News Mirror, Vanderhost epitomizes the educator so many desire to be. She is the kind and innovative teacher for whom we hope our children will grow. The educator who strives to engage all her students from her intervention classes to her honor students. It's hard for me to read this, is knowing what she has been accused of, and I'm reading all these platitudes and these compliments that they're giving to her, and it's just making my head hurt just trying to read it, being completely honest. According to a Facebook post, Vanderhost joined the staff at Ucapa. Man, look, whatever. High school in 2013. So I'm too disgusted to read. As they continue to investigate the incident, detectives released Vanderhost's booking photo as they work to determine if there are any additional victims. Investigators and the Ucapa Calimesa Joint Unified School District work cooperatively to ensure a thorough investigation into this matter has been completed, and they left a contact number for anyone that knows anything about this case or about more victims. Is this the best picture I have of her on here? Okay. Yeah. I mean, she decided to move up to 16-year-olds instead of 12-year-olds. Again, a woman that's under 40 out here just losing her mind, getting caught up in lust for a child. And it's crazy, man. Man, I know I'm preaching to the choir here, but why does nobody want to talk about this stuff? Why does nobody want to talk about this stuff? Sydney G says this society tells people that anything goes, and deviants with no moral compass see it as free reign. Obviously, she has a problem. Let me put that on the screen. I mean, you can't argue with that. You know, when there are no rules, then people take advantage of the fact that there's no rules. That's an excellent point. So I do have video for this as well. I think it's a very short clip where I got from the news feed. So again, we're going to take a look at that clip, and it's very short.
High school tweeted out a picture of Vanderhulst stating that she won the school's Teacher of the Year award. A bail is $30,000. Investigators believe there may be additional victims.
Hello, I'm Mark Brown. Get more great ABC7 content by clicking the subscribe button for...
All right, thanks, Mark. As we see, obviously that's still under investigation. Either that or they really didn't want to talk about it because that clip was over before I pressed the button. So let's go to our next clip. And y'all gonna notice a theme here in a minute. It says female teacher of the month, Casey McGrath, charged with raping student at Chattanooga High School. Now Tennessee's on the board, with cops saying the 28-year-old, so even younger, is at least 10 years older than the victim. So this is a young teacher. And 28 years old is young. And I remember when I was in school, like the young teachers, they were usually more physically appealing. And you didn't get that you didn't feel that same boundary or that space between yourself and them as a younger teacher. Like you can kind of identify with them more. So a 28-year-old teacher preying upon a 16-year-old, man, please. Your hormones are raging out of control too. That young man didn't have no hope. And Miss Shanique Ford says, but there are rules, and she chose not to adhere to those rules. Yeah, I guess I'll throw that up here too. Right. If nothing else, as a teacher, you're not allowed to engage in activities with a student if there are no other. So I agree with that point as well. All right, so let's get into this article. Female teacher of the month, Casey McGrath, charged with raping student at Chattanooga High School. Casey McGrath, 28, was arrested and charged last Friday with aggravated statutory rape of a student. The August 14th indictment against McGrath states that she engaged in sexual activity with someone between the ages of 13 and 18 on May 1st, 2022. McGrath has been released on bail after posting $10,000 bond and will reappear in Hamilton County Criminal Court on September 6th for her arraignment. Hey, I don't know what is going on with September 6th and September 7th, but that must be the biggest day in court in the world, because if I'm not mistaken, September 7th, Mr. Polite, I forgot his real name. Y'all help me out. He's due in court September 7th. So I don't know if all the judges are coming back from vacation, or is that the first day after Labor Day? I don't know what's going on. But anyway, let's move forward. It says a Tennessee teacher previously named Teacher of the Month has been arrested and charged with aggravated statutory rape of a student. Casey McGrath, 28, was arrested by local police in Hamilton County last Friday after being suspended in March while investigators looked into claims that she had inappropriate physical contact with a student at Central High School. Man, every state in America must have a Central High School. The August 14th indictment against McGrath states she engaged in sexual activity with someone between the ages of 13 and 18 on May 1st, 2022. Whew, that's a horrible picture. Goodness. Anyway. His broad hurt. Oh man. The legal filings accused the teacher. I'm not trying to make it light of this. The picture just caught me off guard. The legal filings accused the teacher of unlawfully and knowingly engaging in sexual penetration with a person of at least 13 years of age, but less than 18 years of age, noting that she is at least 10 years older than the victim. They've almost outlined the age for you just by giving you that. The 10th grade geometry teacher, personnel file seen by News 9, reportedly stated that she had been suspended with pay. Wait a minute, with pay? And under investigation for inappropriate physical contact with a student that does not result in harm. What? All right, let's read that again. Maybe I'm tripping. The 10th grade geometry teacher's personnel file, seen by News 9, reportedly stated she had been suspended with pay and under investigation for inappropriate physical contact with a student that does not result in harm. I don't know how the does not result in harm part of this works, but okay. McGrath was suspended and investigated following claims that she had inappropriate physical contact with a student at Central High School. McGrath had worked at Central High School since 2020. She was previously employed by East Ridge Middle School. I think someone at East Ridge Middle School may want to go back and see what possibly happened there. There may be other victims. McGrath also volunteered as an assistant volleyball coach with the school, telling the student newspaper in a deleted article that being able to spend time with students in a non-academic setting gave her the chance to get to know them even more. I bet it did. McGrath majored in mathematics at Lee University before getting her master's degree in secondary education for mathematics at Vanderbilt University in Nashville, according to the student article. All right. We're going to stop right there. We're just going to leave that picture up. I know it's not very attractive. Just fun. Ouch. Such a fun lesson. Had me laughing. Says she looked like a meth head elf. Brother, you got ripped off. Says a lot of these people are hired by teachforamerica.org, which is a staffing company that sends teachers around the country. Maybe the org should be investigated. Oh, let's put that up, because you, brother, you may be on to something. And that had never occurred to me, but you may be on to something there. And Sydney says the same high school had multiple teachers with similar allegations within the last 10 years. This is so it's safe to say, just by the information you just gave us there and the information that we're going here, that we have a bona fide epidemic of teacher misconduct, teacher sexual misconduct with students. And you know, if y'all have heard anybody else talk about this, anybody else point this out, y'all let me know. You know, I'll check out the video. And Miss Shanique Ford says, honestly, I think part of the problem is these young teachers teaching young men and women. Society is devolving, and this is a cocktail for disaster. Suspended with pay, she is an offender. And also states it seems to be by design. I don't know if it's by design, but it's a very interesting coincidence, and I mean, it's something that has obviously gotten completely and totally out of control, and yet nobody else wants to talk about it. So we move on to our next case, which is the case that got me looking down and falling down the rabbit hole of investigating these things, because I just found this one, just being completely honest, this was one I was just like, come on. And it's bad. What I'm about to say is gonna sound horrible. When I looked, and I just thought to myself, she just looks guilty. I don't even know what it is. She just looks guilty. She just looks like, I don't know. I hate to say that about a black woman, but the details of this case was just crazy to me when I heard about it, and I'm just like, this is insane. And this is going to go to something else that's peculiar, to sisters that we're going to have to talk about in another show. Brother, you got ripped off says, based on a quick search, TFA was created by let's see. Clarify that for me, brother. You got ripped off. All right, so let's get into this one. We got to talk about it. You know, I hate to say it, but we're way past the days of, because you know there was a time when we could sit around and say, "Oh, that's those folks doing this." Those days are over, man. When it comes to sexual degeneracy, you had everybody in America is involved in. You know, if you're doing something small, it doesn't even count. Like, you know what I'm saying? Whatever little freaky stuff you doing at your house, man, that stuff ain't even of note, because what's going on out here in these streets is just complete insanity. All right, let's get into it. A now former private school teacher in Wisconsin allegedly had sex with one of her 8th grade students and then gave him a gun for his 14th birthday before he ran away from him. Let's just stop right there. Stopping right there because my head hurts. Let's just read this again, because this is crazy and it's insane. It's making my head hurt. A now former private school teacher in Wisconsin allegedly had sexual relations with one of her 8th grade students and then gave him a gun on his 14th birthday, which means she was engaging with him when he was 13 years old, and then decided, you know what, I'm already grooming this boy, I'm already engaged in illicit activity with this child, I'm already just going totally buck wild bonkers, completely wrong in every way, shape, form, or possible. Why don't I just buy him a gun to just finish the madness off? I just don't understand what in the hell is going on. Taisha Bowden, 34, again, another relatively young woman, stands accused of 1 count each of child sexual assault in the 2nd degree and intentionally selling a dangerous weapon to a child, according to Milwaukee County Court records reviewed by Law and Crime. She was arrested on August 18th and posted $2,500 bond the next day on the condition that she had no contact with any child under the age of 16 without supervision. $2,500 in bond. She got off light. Anyway, the defendant hails from Brown Deer, a small suburb of Milwaukee, and previously worked for the Pilgrim Lutheran School in Wauwatosa, a medium-sized city that's part of the broader metropolitan area. She faces over 40 years in prison as presently charged. Okay, wow. So those 2 charges, she can get up to 40 years. Or did he say up to or over? Let's read that again. No, excuse me, over 40 years. That's how some of these other people. Interesting. Okay. Let's stop right there. We're going to get into some more details on this, but I just got to. Take a deep breath. Let's review. A black female in her 30s decided somewhere in her mind that it was appropriate for her to seduce and engage in activities with a 13-year-old. And then, after doing that for a while, decided of all the things she could buy him for his birthday. She could buy him a bike, basketball, she could buy him some Jordans. Whatever is the flyest gear out. PlayStation, what number PlayStation are they up to now? 4 or 5, whatever. Nope, none of that. His favorite action figure, I don't know. She said, I'm gonna buy a 14-year-old a firearm. This stuff is just unreal. I just don't even understand what can be going through your mind as a grown woman to buy a 14-year-old a firearm. Like, there's some type of mental illness taking place here. Because, is it me? Is this not insane? Am I just out of touch? Is this what's happening in the world? Is this what's going on in these streets? And grown women just deciding, you know what? This is bypass grown men. Let's go straight to the schools and get myself a boyfriend and give him a gun so he can protect me and him. This is just crazy. Let's get back to the article. In late July, after the alleged victim ran away from home while joyriding in a relative's car, his mother called law enforcement and said she suspected he might be staying with Bolden, his teacher at the time, according to a criminal complaint obtained by Law and Crime. So this woman got this young man's nose open, as they used to say, to the point where he's running around stealing cars and staying with her and just acting he is totally out of control. The child's mother suspected her son was likely having a sexual relationship with the defendant, she told police, because she had gone through his cellular phone and found several explicit messages and photographs exchanged between the two. So I guess hacking your child's phone now, it has to be standard activity. A couple of days later, the Brown Deer Police Department visited the private school where Bolden was still working as of July 27th. So that's a month ago. There, an employee said she had confronted the defendant about a possible sexual relationship. According to the complaint, when the Lutheran school employee asked Bolden about the allegation, the teacher allegedly confirmed that the student had stayed the night at her residence early this year. After allowing the school employee to look through her phone and photograph some of the messages, Bolden was immediately fired and the school called the police. These are some of the text messages that are on screen. I don't know if y'all can see this, between the victim and the defendant. Anyway, y'all can look up the article. Y'all can look at that stuff if y'all want to. Anyway, I don't know where I must have missed part of it because there's something about a gun I missed it. says Officer Daniel Reed reviewed photographs of these texts, which are undated. The complaint reads, they include messages where the defendant and the child discuss loving each other and the defendant buying the child a firearm. That gun, it turned out, was a Glock 19, and it was recovered the next day when the child was pulled over, still driving a relative's car, by the West Allis Police Department, according to the complaint. Detectives later determined the defendant purchased a $600 gun from a place called Range USA in Greenfield on June 17th. Seized along with the gun was the child's light blue iPhone. Wonder if she bought that too. A follow-up interview with the boy's parents revealed the couple grew concerned after their son began making poor choices and exhibiting concerning behavior. Among those actions were the child posting images of a firearm and money on social media. And if you have Instagram, you have seen this before more than once. The child's parents indicated that they went through his phone when he was sleeping, and they saw messages on his phone to the defendant. The complaint reads, in those messages, they saw the defendant tell the child that she loved him unconditionally. They also observed the defendant had sent pictures of her chest. During the child's own police interview, he said his relationship with Bolden began in early 2023, when she asked him if he accidentally received, if he quote unquote accidentally received nude photographs she had sent, telling him if he did receive them, they were not meant for him, the complaint says. The child told law enforcement he encouraged his teacher to send the picture again, and that by early May she complied with the request. Why does she have the child's phone number anyway? Is that standard? Anybody help me out here? I mean, because to me that's not appropriate. Is that what's going on in school? I ain't been in school 100 years. Somebody help me out here. We being 48 straight Black Pride to Brother Elijah. Just anyway, let's get back to it. And they got some more. They got some more of the text messages up here. It says, in late May, before school was out for the summer and after receiving 3 nude images of his teacher, the child and Bolden engaged in sexual conduct at 2 separate locations, the child told the police. After that, the child told police the two worked out a plan whereby he obtained a gun, which he picked out himself. He stated the gun was a black and gray Glock 19, that she delivered it with a box of ammunition and 3 books for him. He stated he stored the gun under his mattress and other places in his house. The relationship ended, the child told police, after he asked Bolden for another gun and money, the complaint says. Said the defendant met him at a mall and delivered $1,000 cash in an educator's credit union envelope, but refused to get him another gun. Let's stop right here. All right. Brothers, in the chat, can the brother who has received $1,000 cash from any black woman that's not their mother in their lifetime as a gift, can you put a 1 in the chat? Because I want to see something. Because I'm just being completely honest. I have never had no woman even say they're going to give me $1,000. So, right, no ones in the chat, nobody, no brothers got it like that. Because we hustling backwards. We doing something wrong. I mean, these grown women out here giving away money, buying gifts, to children. So I'm just trying to figure out what in the world is going on. Is it a Milwaukee thing? We got to move to Milwaukee? The women up there that desperate? But we also got California, Tennessee, Florida. Like, what is going on? All right, let's close this out. The child stated the defendant did not speak with him after this. Included in the complaint are several pages worth of text messages that appeared to corroborate the child's version of events. According to law enforcement, an extraction of the child's phone shows the pair exchanged over 2,220 text messages between late May and late July. I mean, not only did she groom the child, sexually abuse him, but then this is a child with two parents, and the parents are saying he started acting totally different. So she done turned him into her preferred type of male, which sound like a degenerate thug. I'm not gonna lie. The fact that the black woman has the worst case so far, it just disheartening. So I got a video on this one. We're gonna watch the news report on this, and then I think I got one, maybe two more articles. So hold on while we watch this next clip.
A jail cell, a former middle school teacher charged with sexually assaulting her 8th grade student.
Madeline O'Neill is here with what prosecutors say happened.
Yeah, in a criminal complaint filed today, prosecutors say that then 33-year-old Taisha Bolden of Brown Deer started texting with her 13-year-old student. They say that progressed to a sexual relationship, a gun as a birthday present, and now serious charges.
A now 14-year-old says he first met Taisha Bolden last October when she became his 8th grade teacher. That's according to court documents, alleging their relationship went beyond the Pilgrim Lutheran classroom. Investigators say between late May and late July, the two exchanged a whole lot of messages, more than 2,200. In those messages listed in the criminal complaint, Bolden acknowledges that the teen is a minor and that she feels guilty. But in one message, Bolden writes, quote, "I want to see you as often as possible, and the rest will just happen." This picture of Bolden is included in the criminal complaint against her. A selfie prosecutors say she sent the teen. Prosecutors say Bolden also sent photos we wouldn't be able to show you. The victim told a Brown Deer police detective that Bolden sent him nude photos in early 2023. He was 13 at the time. In June, right before school was out, the teen says Bolden picked him up and they had sex in a Brown Deer park. In late June for his 14th birthday, the victim says Bolden bought him a gun, something prosecutors say they were able to trace and confirm. The boy told investigators the relationship with the teacher ended in late July when Bolden refused to buy him another gun. The story continues for Bolden. If convicted of both felony charges, she faces more than 40 years in prison.
Pilgrim Lutheran is part of Lumen Schools. Their president and CEO says in a statement that when leadership got information about this, they told police and fired the teacher. Ben and Ashley.
Serious allegations. We'll follow this, Maddie. Thanks.
All right. This is I ain't gonna lie. This is a rough one. Now, we got one more article, and this article was crazy, and I thought I had the video, but I guess I didn't load up the video. This article is crazy, and you'll see why. Because you got two teachers at the same school. So when someone was talking about another school and multiple teachers, yeah, here we are again. brother you got ripped off says, what? When I was 21, you had a 40-year-old who wanted to be your sugar mama. But there's a difference, though. You were at 21, you were still an adult. You weren't 16. You know what I'm saying? That is a difference. And Ms. Shanique says men have given teenage girls large sums of money and expensive gifts. I have no doubt about that. I mean, I remember years ago, me and a couple of brothers were discussing how we could organize to go around and patrol schools for dudes that looked like they didn't belong. But we couldn't get enough people involved to organize it. We couldn't really figure out how we could organize and get people involved and, you know, discussing the legal things and whatnot, because, you know, you could make a mistake, bust the wrong person upside the head. But yeah, the brothers that talked about, you know, seeing some unsavory looking cats, you know, it's expensive cars, picking up young ladies that ain't look like their parents type of thing. Yeah, so what you're saying, and again, this wasn't last year, I'm talking about this was years ago. So yeah. And I think, I hate to say it, but if you bring up that, everybody agrees that that's a problem. And everybody will talk about that, and everybody like, yeah, the men did this and that. Which we agree. I mean, the head should be chopped off. Nobody's debating that. But these issues here, with the predators directly in the schools, and at least just from my basic research, such a large number of being women, which is what caught me totally off guard, is either a new issue or I'm just really late to the party. I mean, I know we've had some of these cases, but I just don't remember this many teachers being involved with students. Maybe I just never looked into it. I don't know. But anyway, let's go here. Says 2 former Wilmington area school district music teachers pled guilty in court this week to reported sexual offenses that involved their students. Olivia Orts, 27, of Hermitage, and Jonathan Priano, whose last reported address was in New Wilmington, each pled guilty. It should be pled guilty, but it says pleaded guilty. I don't think that's correct. Anyway, to 1 count of institutional sexual assault in separate court proceedings. Priano also pled guilty to 1 misdemeanor count of corruption of minors. Priano and Ortiz's cases are unrelated. The only similarity is that both were employed as high school music teachers and choir directors in the Wilmington area school district. After Priano was charged with his reported offenses and resigned, the district hired Ortiz to succeed him. And she resigned because of her charges. This is crazy. Back-to-back school teachers. Back-to-back school teachers accused of sexual impropriety. Y'all know what I'm trying to say. Improprieties with students. Back-to-back. They get rid of one, hire another one. They get rid of the man. They like, okay, obviously the men are out of control. Let's not hire a man. Let's hire a woman. They hire a woman. She does the same exact thing. This is Olivia Orts. Do they have his picture up here? Yeah, they got it. And that's Jonathan Priano doesn't look like that he likes females from that picture. Maybe I'm wrong. Just doesn't look like it. Anyway, let's get to this article. Orts entered her plea in court Tuesday afternoon, and Priano entered an open plea Wednesday morning in court. An open plea means his sentence will be decided by the judge under the state sentencing guidelines. Lawrence County Common Pleas Judge John W. Hodge set Priano's sentencing date for 1:30 p.m. August 3rd, which means that already took place. Ort's plea arrangement and a recommended sentence were agreed upon between Lawrence County Assistant DA Jonathan Miller and her defense attorney Randall T. Hetrick. Common Pleas President Judge Dominic Motto set her sentencing for 1:30 p.m. on July 6th. Priano was charged in June 2020 with 26 offenses, including multiple counts of institutional sexual assault, unlawful contact with minors, corruption of minors, and endangering the welfare of children. He is accused of having had close personal relationships with multiple female students where he would... What? My bad. Let's read this again. He is accused of having had close personal relationships with multiple female students where he would tickle their feet for his enjoyment, according to court papers. The victims told the police the incidents happened inside and outside his apartment and in a school classroom. So this guy was already... How did he still have a job? If he was charged in 2020 with 26 counts, how was he arrested for new stuff in 2023? How do you have a job if he was arrested for 26 offenses and multiple counts? What in the world? Alright, anyway. Orts was arrested in May last year, accused of having an inappropriate physical romantic relationship with a... Oh, let's check this out. Obviously, I didn't read the article. An inappropriate physical romantic relationship with a 17-year-old female student while she was a teacher at Wilmington. I mean, it's classic homophilia. When school officials learned of the allegations against Ort, she was immediately suspended from teaching, initially with pay. She resigned from her position May 9th during the course of the investigation, according to Wilmington Superintendent Dr. Terrence P. Meehan. The team with whom Orts was involved admitted to police she had been to Orts' home several times when Orts' husband was not out. She stayed overnight and she and Orts had physical romantic encounters, according to the criminal complaint. So again, this is another married woman. This is a married female engaging in homosexual acts with underage girls. Let's go back. All right, we got this weirdo who surprised me by actually engaging in activities, strange as they may be, with it is crazy, man, with girls, and then this undercover lesbian, Miss Orts. All right. Oh boy. So, as part of her plea agreement, Orts before sentencing must undergo a sexual offender assessment, and as part of the plea agreement, she will be subject to reporting to the state police under Megan's Law for at least 25 years. Her surrender of her teaching certificate is a condition in her plea agreement. Priano will be subject to Megan's Law reporting for 15 years, which I don't understand how he gets less and he's got 2 different cases, Miller said. He must also surrender his teaching license to the State Department of Education, undergo a sexual offender assessment, and have no contact with the victims. Miller advised the judge that Ort's plea was negotiated extensively with Hetrick and with the victim's family. Miller said he predicts sentencing. The victim's family will ask the judge to allow contact between Orts and the reported victim. Wait, what? What? The victim's family will ask the judge to allow contact between Orts and the reported victim. However, she informed the judge part of the plea arrangement to Orts is to have no further contact with the girl. New Wilmington Borough Police initially charged Orts with 2 counts of intercourse / sexual contact with a school student and 1 count of 1 count each of unlawful contact with a minor for sexual offenses and criminal use of a communication facility, all felony level charges. She is free on bail until her proceedings are concluded. The remaining charges against both accused offenders will be dismissed as part of their plea agreements. Suspects are considered innocent until proven guilty or adjudicated in court. Peace to Brother Crow. Man, Brother Crow, you have missed one heck of a show, man. You're gonna have to go back and watch it. I can't even. The amount of insanity that we read through today is really brain-boggling and mind-hurting. All of this stuff is crazy. So, let's review. We have a married woman who decides that she wants to engage in inappropriate relations with a 17-year-old girl. She's married to a man, apparently. I don't even know how that even happens. Like, you just wake up one day and just like, you know what? This married to a man thing's overrated. I mean, that's gonna go fine. Somebody's daughter to mess with. Like, what is going on? And how are these? Y'all got to excuse me, man. This stuff is it's very upsetting. All of this is crazy. And I've noticed a trend. We don't have as many people in it. I know it's a trend. We started talking about some of these predators and stuff, man. A lot of y'all don't want to hear it, and I understand, because me reading it is just making my head hurt. But we have to shine a light on the filth and corruption and degradation and degeneracy and savagery and barbarity that's going on in our schools. These are professionals, teachers. We haven't even talked about nobody else. We haven't talked about no principals. We ain't talked about the gym teacher. We ain't talked about the janitor. We ain't talked about none of that. I just put in teachers. Like literally seemingly a million cases came up, and I tried to pick the half a dozen or so that I could get and squeeze in under an hour and find videos for. And I had a video for this. I just didn't load it up. This is just complete insanity. And again, I know I keep saying this, but who else is talking about this? It would be one-offs. There appear to be one-offs unless you start going throughout the landscape of the country and seeing this thing occurring over and over and over again and again and again in state after state, from Milwaukee to Tennessee to Florida to California. You know? Brother, you got ripped off said some people probably healing from their own trauma, and so this conversation is on hard. Yeah, brother. I'm not blaming people. I'm just making an observation. I understand. But we got to pull the rug up and spray the vermin underneath the rug, you know? And we got to talk about this stuff because the school year just started. All this stuff from last year, the school year literally, at least in this area, literally just started. And so, just based upon this very basic rudimentary research that we've done, that this cycle is going to continue. And brother, you got ripped off, went and put up that information about what is it again, brother? teachforamerica.org. We may have to look and see what's going on there. See if there's a connection. So what is really happening? Because this stuff just can't. It's obvious that predators have decided to target our children in the schools, and I believe the fact that the schools are allowing books like, and I don't even have the pictures of the books up, but books like Gender Queer and Gay BCs and all these other books that are out, that kind of lets people know. It's like a blinking light, like, oh, okay, if they're allowing them to learn that stuff, then yeah. And people think that they can go up in there and do whatever they can do and have their way with children, because the people are already having their way with children psychologically and educationally, and these predators are just coming in and taking it to the next level, which is physical. So I think I got one more article. And I'm gonna just go through this one quickly. For some reason they got Mr. Trump up here. I don't know what he got to do with this. It's about the only thing he hasn't been accused of lately is being a teacher and doing something foul to a student. Every time I look up, he's facing some new charges, man. Oh man, investigator released information of Robert Denise's initial arrest and received a call from another victim who reported they were also assaulted in the 2000s. So this is, oh my bad, the new charge filed against Colorado teacher. So this is in you got ripped off? It's your neck of the woods. Larimer County middle school teacher who was arrested in April on charges that we finally found a man, sexually assaulted a student in the early 2000s. That's 20 years ago. He's now facing an additional charge. Investigators from the sheriff's office said after they released information on the original arrest of Robert Denise, 60, they received multiple calls from the public who shared concerning behavior by Denise. So basically, this dude has been running around being a predator for 20 some odd years. One of those calls included a victim who said they were sexually assaulted by Denise while attending Cache Le Padre Junior High in the 2000s. Denise is a social studies teacher who has worked at the middle school since 1995. When he was arrested and initially charged by the district attorney's office with 2 counts of sexual assault on a child by one in a position of trust, a felony, $1,000 bond was issued by a Larimer County judge. An additional victim reported an assault. Court documents show Denise now faces 3 counts of sexual assault against 2 victims, both of whom were under 15 years old when the reported assaults occurred. No person should ever have to endure the kind of traumatic violation that occurs with sexual assault. I concur. Sheriff John Fyan said in the news release, it's important that we as a community support victims and demand accountability from offenders. Man, that's an understatement of the year. At the time of the arrest in May, the Padre School District said they had placed Denise on paid administrative leave in February. Man, what's up with this paid leave, bro? Yeah, I was like, I need some paid. And I ain't doing that degenerate savage. It's ridiculous. The middle school where Denise taught sent out another letter to parents and guardians on Tuesday. The district confirmed that Denise is still on administrative leave following this new charge. Anyone with information about unreported inappropriate conduct or abuse involving the suspect is asked to contact investigator Ryan Gebhardt. And they leave the number up there. I mean, at this point, oh, that's what you was trying to tell me. The founder for Teach for America is a member of World Economic Forum. Oh, well, thank you, brother. I wasn't grasping what you were saying earlier. Oh, that explains oh so much. That explains so much. Anyone who's been listening to me for a long time is familiar with the World Economic Forum and some of the information that we put out about them. I haven't kept up as much lately like I need to. But yeah, okay. Brothers and sisters, I'm gonna be honest, this was a rough show. You know, I thought I was prepared for the show. I had looked through some of the articles. I had looked through some other articles that I didn't put up. But this is something we're gonna have to like come together and organize and try to address and see how bad this problem is, because I mean, from just the articles that we read, man, we just got predators just running rampant all through school systems all across America. And you know, I know there's so much other stuff going on, and I mean, so much chaos and disorder, but it's bad enough sending our children to schools with the type of education or miseducation, and Bob Baruti said diseducation that they receive. But the fact that you have to worry about your child being violated by a teacher, somebody that they thought they could trust, makes it that much more damaging. And as I said before, very few children have the psychological tools necessary to defend themselves. So quickly, man, you can follow me on Instagram at dc.radical1, Twitter dc_radical_one, the OTW2 is DC Radical 1, where the uncensored content goes, and the Cash App, if you would like to donate to offset the cost of maintaining this channel, is $DC Radical 1. Of course, this is the YouTube, and you can email me at dc.radical_1 at protonmail.com. And Miss Shanique Ford says, the paid leave shows the leverage and power of the teachers union. Look what the police union facilitates for its bad actors. That's an excellent point as well. I'm gonna put that up on the screen. Yeah, because I just noticed that you're right. There's a pattern, you know, paid administrative leave. It's just like the police. We always hear that with a police situation. Paid administrative leave while it's under investigation. And with these teacher situations, we're seeing the exact same thing. So, brothers and sisters, we'll be back next week. Just do me a favor if you can. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe to the channel. If you have subscribed and you've been listening, especially for these last few months where we've been putting out a little more content, and while still evading thus far the YouTube censors, send your favorite clip or your favorite live stream or your favorite show. Send it to someone that you think might be interested, and let them know about the channel. Let them know about the movement. Let them know Straight Black Pride is still alive. Let them know Brother Genie's still doing his work. And you know, a luta continua. The struggle continues. And we're gonna keep doing this. And also, brother, you got ripped off because you were looking at the live stream when I said this. Let me say this real quick before I go. I did not know, and unfortunately, had I known, I would not in a position to go down there to it. I didn't know Sharpton was in town, although he's in town a lot, but I didn't know he was leading that march, and I just forgot that it was the 60th anniversary. I am doing a video on CI7. I told y'all, as long as Sharpton's alive and I'm alive, every time he has a big event, I'm either gonna blast it on social media or I'm gonna go down to wherever he's at and let the people know that this dude is a confidential informant for the FBI. So I missed my chance. I was at the plantation. I didn't know. I wasn't paying attention. I hadn't been watching the news. I just wasn't paying attention. I missed it. Just being completely honest. But that's not gonna stop me. I'm gonna make that video. I'm not ever letting that rest as long as he can convince more than 20 people to follow him in a march and listen to him. So we doing a video on that march. And when I do that video, spread that video to everybody you can, because it makes me want to throw up watching this guy walk around pretending to be some type of black leader while he talking that jibber jabber. Almost cussed. Man, I don't know between Sharp, I might just do a show next week on these traitorous Negro leaders, man. Because between Sharpton and that dude Eric Adams in New York, I don't know who's worse, man. These dudes literally make me want to throw up just every time they open their mouth and just spew out that nonsensical garbage. So with that, brothers and sisters, thank you all for listening. I thank you all for your support. I thank you all for subscribing. If you can hit the Cash App, I greatly appreciate it. If not, that's cool. You got any questions or anything, or even if you have, because I don't think I'm gonna open up the Ask DC part again. So if you ask me a question that's profound, I'll do a video on it. You can DM me on Instagram, or if you're not on Instagram, you can just shoot me an email at my Proton email account, dc.radical_1@protonmail.com. So, and Brother Crow says a show on race traders would be a great idea for a show. That's next week's show. That's next week's show. Brother, you got ripped off. Don't let me forget, man. That's next week's show. We got to talk about these traitors, leaders, man. It's just ridiculous at this point. So with that, brothers and sisters, I thank you all for listening. I thank you all for subscribing. I thank you all for your support of myself, Brother Jenny, Straight Black Pride Movement, and the Ask 'em movement. We are going to win this war against our enemies, those internal and external. That's it, and that's all. With that, I say Abibi for Hodie and Straight Black Pride.